Coming up, we see how being involved in Tzu Chi has helped a mother appreciate her daughter's differences. Tzu Chi volunteers in Myanmar host a 2016 Yearend Blessing ceremony with a sutra adaptation performance. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Lee-Shioda. Thank you for joining us. We begin today's program in Malaysia and meet Tzu Chi, a volunteer living in Kuala Lumpur. Since childhood, Tay has suffered from a language impairment, which has made studying and social interaction difficult. Her mother was also very demanding and disappointed with her growing up. However, thanks to their participation with Tzu Chi, both mother and daughter are living harmoniously and now walk the Bodhisattva path together.
请问你叫什么名字？
李希。
你今年几岁
？27.
This is 27-year-old Tzu Chi. She has a quiet personality, and at 7 years old began to develop a language impairment.
It started when she was in first grade. Oh goodness, she couldn't read the books she was studying. I couldn't figure out the problem. B's became D's and Q's became P's. 6 became 9s and 7s became 4s. She was all mixed up.
The daughter's studies progressed slowly, and she was unable to live up to her mother's expectations, which caused the mother to become demanding. In the end, both mother and daughter suffered emotionally.
你把妈咪画成什么？
姑婆。
姑婆啊，怎么的？
她以前很生气，她生气说她就拿我头发打肚子。
Eventually, the mother, Liao Chongmei, became a Tzu Chi volunteer and began taking her daughter to accompany her at the recycling station. Tzu Chi was able to improve her social abilities, and the mother was able to improve her demanding attitude.
After my mom joined Tzu Chi, she began to change slowly, bit by bit.
Currently, Tzu Chi is a full-time volunteer at the Tzu Chi kindergarten in Kuala Lumpur and has learned to depend on herself, getting to and from work.
I used to really worry. Now when she goes to catch the bus, I let her go on her own. She's become more independent, which is really good.
She will send me a message, and then I'd respond with a 近似 aphorism. Later, I told her that she should learn an aphorism every day and copy it in her notebook.
Even with her language impairment, Tzu Chi has put forth tremendous effort to learn the aphorisms, writing a new one every day. Now her notebook has over 200. After successfully completing volunteer training, Tzu Chi brought her notebook with her to Taiwan for the certification ceremony. Her and her mother shared their story with Master Zheng Yan, and now the two of them walk the Bodhisattva path together.
Mom, I really like you. I love you. When you are old, I will take care of you.
Next, we'll meet a boy who studies at Johor Bahru Tzu Chi Kindergarten, Tae Yu-fan, whose favorite food was fish meatballs. After he joined the school's Veggieland Passport campaign and successfully completed his mission, he gave up his favorite food. Now he encourages others to refrain from eating meat as well.
Tae Yu-fan was required to embrace vegetarianism for 30 consecutive days to obtain this certification.
那个人是我。
那个人叫什么名字？
郑宇凡这边有。
是哈，郑宇凡哈。
Influenced by his parents who are both vegetarians, Yu-fan started to refuse eating meat as 2 years old, except for fish balls. After carrying out the challenging mission of his school's Veggieland Passport campaign, Yu-fan can finally resist the temptation to eat fish balls.
所以他开始就回去。
At the beginning, he asked his sister not to eat fish and fish balls because, in his opinion, fish balls contain meat. Sometimes we may cook veggie fish balls for him, but before he eats them, he always asks me whether they are made of meat. He even refuses to eat food that looks like meat.
Besides going vegetarian on his own, Yu-fan also encourages his aunt and sister to eat veggies.
He calls his aunt who lives in Malacca almost every day to ask her whether she has eaten veggies today.
After his aunt says yes, then he will give a mark on the card. He always encourages his auntie to adopt a meatless diet.
怎么雨凡没有吃肉肉？
因为我要吃素。
怎么雨凡要吃素？
因为要救地球。
Having learned to protect life, now Yufan cherishes life much more than before.
就是有一次我们在外婆家。
Once when we were at his grandma's home, Yufan saw a dragonfly get stuck and struggled to fly away from the fluorescent tube, but he was very anxious and said, "Dad, I want to save the dragonfly." And then he turned off the light, allowing the dragonfly to fly away. You can see that he felt quite happy after saving that dragonfly.
救了那个蜻蜓了过后，他是很开心的这样啦。
As the roots of kindness has been planted in the young boy, the seed of love is also growing in his heart.
Acromegaly is a hormonal disorder that results from too much growth hormone in the body. People who suffer from acromegaly have enlarged hands and feet and bone growth, often altering the patient's facial features. Famed Taiwanese producer Zhou Yo was also diagnosed with acromegaly. However, she did not let her condition define her. Instead, she chose to deal with her illness with a positive mindset. But first, we meet Yu Xinchen, who suffers from Angelman Syndrome, and see how her family has found ways to cope with this rare neurogenetic disorder. In the fairy tale Pinocchio, the wooden puppet cannot become a real boy. Therefore, he can never grow up. There are some children in this world who are born with a rare genetic disorder whereby they are missing chromosome 15. These children will grow up just like other children. The only difference is that they will always remain a child at heart. These children exhibit a happy and excitable demeanor with frequent smiling. These are actually symptoms of Angelman Syndrome.
As a new dad, I could only listen to the doctor's advice to keep Xinchen in the incubator while they monitor to see if there are any problems. They kept her inside the incubator for about a week, and then we took her home because they didn't find any problems.
Before Yu Binlun got married, he never thought about having kids. However, when he was in his 40s, along came the unexpected. His daughter Xinchen came into his life.
好了，这么开心哈，不可以这样，这样妈妈会摔倒。
其实我是很开心，讲坦白说。
I was very happy, actually. To be honest, I was ecstatic. I was okay with it being either a girl or a boy. In the beginning, I bought Xinchen a lot of new clothes and toys.
我买了很多新衣服啊、玩具给她。
Just as Yu Binlun was experiencing the joys of fatherhood and watching Xinchen grow day by day, he suddenly noticed something was off.
她应该是到8个月了，我们才去。
She was about 8 months when we became certain she could not sit up properly. When she sat down, she would wave her hands like this and then fall over.
就往床上就咚倒下去了。有没有很可怜？有没有痛？痛哦，好。
Unable to express her pain, 6-year-old Xinchen would soon attend elementary school, but she still does not know how to speak. She can only say simple words such as mom and dad.
爸爸啦。我是谁？
Later, we did a DNA test and they discovered that chromosome 15 was missing. Deletion of chromosome 15 means she won't know how to sit, won't know how to roll over or crawl, won't know how to walk. She's come a long way since.
Angelman syndrome sufferers have a mental age of 5 years old. Thus, they do not have the ability to recognize danger. Yu had no choice but to leave his job in order to look after his daughter and work from home.
不行，不行。
Confronted by his daughter's sudden outbursts, Yu feels sorry for her because he knows she cannot control it. He says it's harder on Xinchen than it is on them.
It's harder on Xinchen. Think about it. She should be enjoying the childhood she deserves like every other child.
人生嘛。
跨大步，跨大步。
Since the day Xinchen was born as a father, Yu made a decision to hold her hand forever as he explores the world with her. Who knows, maybe one day this miracle will come.
某些时候他会对你讲的话。
Sometimes when she speaks to you, she expresses her emotions in a certain way, which really surprises me. It makes me wonder if she has recovered, and I'd be very moved by it.
那个时候是很感动的。
The life expectancy of an Angelman sufferer is no different than the average person. Now that Yu is in his 50s, he is worried that the day may come where he is too old to look after his daughter anymore. Who will look after her then?
I've told myself and I've told my wife this as well. If we feel as if we've fallen in too deep and we cannot find the answers, we should just let these thoughts go.
Over the years, institutions that accommodate those with physical and mental disabilities have not increased in number for those like Xinchen who will eventually age.
If all goes well, Xinchen will soon start school at the Nantou Special School. However, it is still uncertain what the future holds once she graduates. Problems related to long-term care for the elderly is also a challenge faced by those with disabilities. Sadly, they're often the most disadvantaged group and also the most overlooked. The sketch of a hand tells the story of an acromegaly sufferer.
I sketched this 2 years after surgery. I was overcome with emotion at the time, and I wrote these words. My hand seems better now.
What can you tell by just looking at this hand? Is it your fate or health? No matter what the answer is, these once delicate hands of Chen Shizhao are only a memory now.
I have clumsy, blunt fingers. It takes a lot more than effort to hold a needle at the fingertips.
Comparing the hand in the sketch to Chen's actual hand, one can notice a significant size difference. The quote at the bottom right corner tells of Chen's years of hardship. Diagnosed with acromegaly, Chen has enlarged hands and feet, and her facial features have become more prominent. As a little girl, Chen was petite and small-framed, and in elementary school, she was often admired for her small face. However, when she hit adolescence, her nose suddenly became enlarged and she began to gain weight rapidly.
It happened so suddenly. I gained 11.5 kilograms in a month.
Before Chen married and had children, she often thought of herself as a bulky type, and with the change in her facial features, she wallowed in self-pity and broke her family's heart.
I used to go home and ask my mom why she gave birth to such an ugly daughter. My mom got so upset she cried. From then on, I never ask again why I'm so ugly. Whenever I look into the mirror, I tell myself if my nose was just a little bit higher, I would probably be very pretty.
This actress has also been tormented by years of acromegaly. Actress-turned-producer Zhou Yo has had to endure years of mockery and ridicule because of her condition. Although this entertainer accurately impersonated Zhou Yo's expression, however, the impersonation was such a parody and filled with mockery that it hurt Zhou Yo deeply.
Xu Jiehui always mocks me and makes my mouth so wide. I was going to sue Xu Jiehui. I'm already sad enough to be diagnosed with this disorder. I was ill. Taiwan's top 10 celebrities, I was one of them.
Gone are her youthful days, but her hard work has still borne success. In 1959, Zhou Yo won the Best Supporting Actress at the Golden Tripod Awards. Zhou You was only in her early 20s. She was pretty, well-shaped, and charming, very different to what she looks like now. Zhou You says the sudden onset of the disease may very well be linked to the injections she was using.
There were these injections that were quite popular in Switzerland, sheep placenta injections. It was really expensive. Because they wanted to make more money, they came once a week to give me those injections.
To give well-experienced artists a stage to shine, she often invites them to perform throughout the country. When people hear the name Zhou You in the industry, they have nothing but praise for her.
She's always helping artists like us find a platform so that we may earn some income. She's a great person, and she's just like a mother to me.
Forthright and outspoken, Zhou You is often seen as a strict mentor, but also a caring mother figure. Losing her beauty to illness, Zhou You does not let her condition beat her down. Who says looks are everything? For someone like Zhou You, she has already made a long-lasting impression in her own way. In our next story, we'll make a visit to Yangon, where Tzu Chi volunteers and local residents of Myanmar are celebrating a 2016 Yearend Blessing ceremony. The day's event included a sutra adaptation. Many residents surprised the volunteers with the amount of rice and money they brought to the event for donation, which showed how Tzu Chi's love has been spreading in Myanmar.
At the end of the Year Blessing ceremony in Myanmar, many local residents came bearing money and rice to donate. For farmer U Mint Sui, he had never imagined this many people from so many communities could come together to do good for others.
I hope the whole country of Myanmar will give rice together. My children will continue this tradition.
The tradition of saving a handful of rice a day began from a few households and spread to the entire community. U San Ten was influenced by a volunteer last year to begin the practice. He shared his thoughts at the ceremony.
We got 8 villages to save rice to donate together. This will help the elderly and those who are poor and unable to work. One person's impact is limited, but when everyone works together, we can really help a lot of people.
As part of the ceremony, volunteers performed an adaptation of the Sutra of Immeasurable Meaning. The venue for the event was provided by a local high school, and the principal of the school was incredibly moved after witnessing the event.
I believe these farmers are filled with so much love, and they are making an impact. I hope that we can encourage the children to feel this love, and that our schools, teachers, and students will save and donate to help others.
Also as part of the year-end activities, Tzu Chis have been canvassing school campuses and have also set up a display area to promote the benefits of vegetarianism and encourage others to take action to help combat climate change.
Today, I brought 2 daughters to come with me. They also signed up to be volunteers. I hope that our whole family can all become a part of Tzu Chi.
The Yearend Blessing ceremony in Yangon had over 1,500 participants, which is the largest turnout to date. Everyone sincerely hopes that Tzu Chi's love and light will continue to spread throughout Myanmar in the years to come.
Prior to the Lunar New Year, Tzu Chi volunteers in Xiamen, China delivered scholarships directly to the students and their families. While there, volunteers also encouraged the students to study hard.
Volunteers make their way up the narrow mountain path in the countryside. They are headed to a care recipient's home to deliver a scholarship. They also want to ask the mother and father to say a few words for the camera.
I hope she warm meals and warm clothes. She should use money wisely and not waste it on things she doesn't need. Spend money when you need to spend it.
After coming down from the mountain, volunteers immediately visit the school of Gao Yu Shuang, who gets a little teary-eyed when volunteers share the video.
是同人相比，爸爸妈妈也显得比较憔悴呀，然后就是辛苦。
那怎么样？你要怎么样报答爸爸妈妈？
好好读书啊。
This is Ye Xiaoying, a third-year high school student who is unable to return home because she is taking extra courses to prepare for her tests. However, she is thankful for the company of her Tzu Chi family.
I think the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters are especially kind. I'm very thankful for all your support. I'm going to test well and get into college.
At the end of the year here in Xiamen, Tzu Chi volunteers have divided into 60 groups to visit each scholarship student and their families individually, and to spread a little love and happiness before the Lunar New Year holidays.
Staying in China but moving to Hebei, Wang Shenping is a plumber by trade, and while working last November, he suffered a sudden cerebral hemorrhage. The left side of his body was paralyzed, and his wife now has to not only care for him, but find a way to pay for their medical expenses. Having moved just to Hebei and having no relatives or friends around, she turned to Tzu Chi for help.
哎呀，你瘦多了，亲爱的。
At this critical moment, the arrival of old friends leads this woman to show her softer side.
不要把自己累坏，为自己健康才能把它照顾好。
好，我还好，我一直没哭，一直这养着等着你们来了才流。
哎呀，好恢复啊，别着急，现在就是前段时间太忙了，让你多躺躺，休息休息。
Couple had lived apart because of work and are now finally reunited. Unfortunately, Mr. Wang Shenping suffered a cerebral hemorrhage, leaving the left side of his body paralyzed. The family is not only now out of work, but also unable to pay for medical expenses, as Tzu Chi volunteers in Beijing came to help out when they heard the news. Delivering a red envelope and condolence money to help ease the family's hardship, the wife, Ho Yawei, is grateful and worries about repaying the funds.
如果将来我们要是说还的话，是怎么不？
你先不用考虑还，你先用。你把这个钱，就是比如说你有一天没有困难了，你可以把它捐出去，都没问题。
事业也刚起步。
Their career just began for this family of three with one 15-year-old son. But actually, she and her husband had to live in two different areas, and as this lifestyle was quite hard, they just bought a house recently.
With
the help of everyone, Wang Shenping returns home. Volunteers help carry out the wish of his wife in bringing him home and a pledge to repay Tzu Chi.
When your body is good, we'll do Tzu Chi work together. We'll put money into this coin bank every day and remember this moment. We'll remember putting in 5 to 10 cents every day.
Starting with just 5 cents, the seeds of compassion can spread and speed along the rehabilitation process, as his family hopes to soon give back to the community.
To help celebrate the Lunar New Year, Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan and China hosted many reunion banquets for their care recipients. As we leave you with these images, we hope you find some time to catch up with your family members during this holiday season. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.